We have here in the shop a 2013 Chevy Volt. We're going to be installing a backup camera on this vehicle. As you can see, there's no factory backup camera. This one does have the factory MyLink system. If you come in the car, it's going to give us all the options on screen. MyLink standard icons. And we can go to home here and show you that it has the MyLink. This one actually has navigation but no backup camera. We're in reverse there. No camera. So I'm going to get started taking some things apart and get this all torn apart and get the camera, show you some steps on how to install it, and we'll be back here shortly. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do here back in the rear of the vehicle, there's the trunk section in here. We're going to pop up this little door that actually hides the battery pack and whatnot back here. There's two plastic rings here that have to just come out. These are actually just snapped in place. I was able to get the pick underneath them and just pop them up, pop those out, get them out of the way. And then coming up at the top area here against the weather stripping with a pry tool, this guy here actually will just unsnap and let you get up in there to work. I'm going to actually just finish unsnapping all of that, and we're going to get that out of our way. I'll be back here shortly. So the first thing I did was I went ahead and mounted our camera using the supplied hole saw that comes with it. We just measured the actual bumper area and actually found dead center between the two parking lights, drilled the hole, and the camera snaps right in. I removed the left license plate light just to help run the cable. It's actually a pretty tight fit. You can actually see the cable there. It's tucked in through the bumper. And to enter it into the vehicle, once I got the rubber plastic piece here out of the way in the back, the trim piece, if you look dead in center, there's going to be a rubber plug right there. I actually was able to drill a hole dead center, fish our camera wire through the center of that rubber plug to keep out road noise and wind and whatnot. Kept that guy in place and just fished the wire dead through the center of it. It's already in the vehicle. It was a little knockout port. We just ran our wire right through it. So now that the camera wire is in the car, we're going to be routing it up to the front. I will be back in just a second to show you the disassembly of the remaining side trim panels and whatnot to get the camera actually up front to the video screen. Alright, so what I was able to do here, I actually ran the wire in from the back of the vehicle where we mounted our camera, and then I followed this wire harness here up and over. If you take off this door here to your left of your control panel and the back, this little access panel here rather, you can actually see there's some fuses and whatnot up in there. You can actually reach in around and grab that cable and actually fish it through. So we've got our video cable over to this section of the rear, left rear of the vehicle if you're standing behind it. This driver's side rear of the vehicle. We'll be right back to show you how we're going to get it from there up to the front. So what I was actually able to do once I removed this panel here on the driver's rear side of the vehicle, I was actually able to get a fish tape, and there's a pretty good cavity, if you can see up in there. It's kind of hard to see, between this plastic trim piece and the actual outside of the car. If you come inside here, there's a small plastic cover covering this guy here where the seat actually locks into. If you take that cover off, it actually allows you to push in from the front with the fish tape and actually run your wire just right up inside of that cavity. So once I did that, I pulled it through, took off the driver side door jambs. They just unsnap very gently with a plastic pry tool. Take both of those guys out there, driver and rear side there. You can see we actually already have our wire up to this point. So let me get back together here with taking some more apart and some more disassembly, and I'll be back here in just a second. Back here on the driver's side, obviously we have underneath the driver's side here, there is a airbag assembly that actually has two 10mm bolts that actually hold this guy up to the bottom of the dashboard up under here. So you're going to need to release the two 10mm bolts, one on each end of this airbag assembly piece, and gently let that guy down, get it out of your way, and then there will be two 7mm bolts that actually hold this bottom trim piece on here. You can see the holes up under the actual steering wheel. So you have two 10s for the airbag and two 7s there to get that plastic trim piece out of your way. Once I've done that, now I can actually route my cable over and gain access to the radio cavity. I'll come back here in just a second and show you how to actually start disassembling the radio itself. Here in the vehicle, what we actually do to get access to the radio cavity to plug in our T-harness is supplied with the camera. We're actually going to, I just took my fingers here and lifted straight up underneath this trim panel, popped it actually straight up and out. It'll actually release from the radio. And there's a connector up under here for the gear indicator. We'll be disconnecting that. And then there are two, looks like 7mm bolts hidden right behind there. So let me get this guy out of the way and I'll be right back. Went ahead and removed the two 7mm bolts here. There's one on each side. After you remove this trim ring around the shifter, you can actually gain access to those. And believe it or not, the actual radio, you just pull up on this guy, the actual whole radio will just unsnap and let you get it right out of its way. So we just do basically just like that, and that allows us access to the silver radio box behind which we're actually going to plug in our T-harness. So give me a second here to get my hands free and unplug all these electrical connectors, and I'll be right back. I have the control panel unplugged, out of the way, laying in the back obviously. You can see the connectors and whatnot. It's quite a few to unplug there. There's maybe 6, I'm assuming. So we're going to take and get these 7mm bolts around the radio to come out next. Basically it's just like all the other standard guys here. There's 4 7mm bolts holding the actual radio in. So once we get these out of our way, the radio box itself will actually just slide out and our supplied T-harness will plug right into the top port there. I'll be back here in just a second to show you that. So I've got the yellow RCA lead from our camera video up to the radio. I actually used the fish tape and pulled it through the radio compartment. You can actually see it's here. This is the camera video, like I said, and you're going to connect that to the supplied T-harness with our kit. Actually disconnect the top connector here on the radio, and our new plug will actually plug right into it, as you can see. And it has the camera lead coming right off of it. Plug the factory in into the female side, and your connections up top at the radio are done. Pretty simple. I'm going to get the radio back in, control panel all back on, and I'll show you how to power and ground the camera. And we're almost finished with this installation. So to power the actual camera, after further looking at the schematics on this vehicle, since it is a hybrid vehicle, to be safe, we were going to a good spot. We actually came over behind the glove box area is the actual BCM. You can see the BCM there. The gray plug on the BCM, it's actually a green and a white striped wire there. You can see that's your reverse trigger, the gray plug. The BCM actually sits up in this bracket here. It's a real tight fit getting it out. If you take, there's a 7mm screw here on the front that holds the brace. You'll see it here in a second. When I get it put back up there, I'll take some video. You remove that screw, the BCM will actually slide straight down and out so you can work on it. That's what we're actually going to power our camera from. So give me a second here to get that back and I'll show you how to do that. So here's the actual BCM of the car. Like I said, I'm actually under the glove box area now. There's a panel that has to come down. Once you get the panel down out of your way, there's this brace here that actually holds the BCM up into place. It's got this 7mm screw. It's kind of hard to see. It's really dark under here. This little brace on the bottom, actually, once you take that screw out, this brace here actually just drops straight down and lets the BCM come down like shown before. That's our red wire coming out. So we're actually going to be using to power our camera. There is a panel that covers all of this underneath there with a 7mm screw dead center of it. If you look here, you can see the actual piece here. There will be a 7mm screw hidden up in there, so make sure you get that guy out to drop the panel down. So I'm going to put our panel back on and run the power wire over to the camera to power the camera, and this installation is pretty much almost done. Be right back. So here's the final product on the Volt. We actually installed the camera here over dead center of the license plate, like I mentioned once before. Ran all of our wiring, as I showed you there in the video, through the side seal panels here on each side of the vehicle. All of the excess wiring is actually hid right down there to the left of the hood release. The power, once again, came from the BCM over here on this side. There was a section talking about that. If we come in the actual vehicle and turn it on here, hit the power button, you see it power up here. There's our Volt screen. This vehicle is equipped with navigation and the MyLink system. So if we go to home, you will still see none of that stuff change there. All of your icons are still there. Going into reverse, and we actually now have our camera. Pretty good image. It's got the grid lines there for you. Back to park, you're back to your home screen. So good stuff. Like I said, the camera went in very nicely. Power's all over there under the glove box for the BCM. Everything's plug and play with our harness pretty much for the video input. Nothing else has changed on the vehicle. So pretty good, straightforward install. There'll be a number at the end of the video you can call for more information or questions. Also, there's an email to contact us by email if you'd like. Thanks a lot.